Welcome to your weekly program, Balahdan, a show with an accent for those without men. You know, talking about mainstream media and how the really corporate America is destroying journalism in this country. There is no such thing as investigative reporting. Now it's agenda reporting, it's bias reporting. Fox News leading the way of how they dismantle journalism as we know it. Alternative media is really, and citizen media is really, or citizen journalism is the way to go for those minority, the voiceless, and people who really have no voice in the mainstream media. We have a very great story here. Somebody took on himself or herself to start her own media news outlet to have a voice and as a watchdog for mainstream media. We have here Mnar Muhawesh. I should know this because I know your dad. So she is the founder and editor-in-chief of MintPress News, which is a watchdog news outlet, and she monitoring, lobbying and how, corporate and special interests affecting our foreign public policy. Welcome to Balahdan, Mnar.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very nice name. First, your name, Mnar.
Yeah, thank you.
Which is?
It means guiding light.
Here we go. Lighthouse, whatever. Also, MintPress. This is really beautiful name. And I know there is a story there when it comes to news. I mean, news usually bad news. MintPress, tell us, how did you arrive to this name?
Well, MintPress actually started out as my personal blog when I first became an independent journalist. And I used to post my exclusive interviews and reporting on my blog, MintPress. But the reason I came up with the name MintPress is because I really wanted to invigorate and move people in the way that we presented news. People are so disenfranchised and so disconnected from the news media. The media really is very depressing. It creates an us versus them. It really works very hard to instill fear into the hearts and minds of people. And so I came up with this idea that we need to invigorate the American public back again so that we can really become active citizens in the United States to bring back our country to where it needs to be. And connect these issues to money and politics and how really manipulative the media manipulates narratives to wars, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's when I started to take it upon myself to start my blog and report the news, on my own. But my interest in journalism started back when I was 12 years old, when we had arrived from Palestine after living under Israeli apartheid for 4 years.
How old were you when you came here?
Well, I was born and raised in the United States, moved to Jerusalem for 4 years when I was about 9 years old, came back when I was 12.
I see.
And we lived under Israeli occupation and apartheid, and we witnessed, of course, my family witnessed, crimes against humanity. I witnessed a police state like no other, fascism, discriminatory laws. And so when I had come back to the United States, of course, I really felt disenfranchised as this American teenager who was really always wanting to know more about what was going on back home, but the media was so focused.
You didn't get it from the ministry?
I wasn't getting it from the media. The media was fear-mongering. It was fear-mongering, and I really analyzed how they were manipulating the narrative, and they were victimizing the Israeli government, and they were portraying Palestinians as, as jihadists out to kill everybody.
Even the most liberal one will represent the Palestinian and the Israeli as an equal footing. It's
exactly
between two equal parties.
And it's not an equal level playing field. Absolutely not. This is a David and Goliath scenario. We have, ethnic cleansing and genocide at its finest in modern day colonialism that we know it happening now in the state of Israel.
And that's, mainstream media, even from far right or whatever, the right has an issue, but even the left have adapted the same narrative, that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East and all of that. So as now you move on to MintPress News, what was the mission? What was he trying to do here?
Well, all of these life experiences led me to start MintPress and turn it into the global organization that it is today, through this very idea that the people aren't getting the truth. They're not getting the facts. In the United States, the corporate media is owned by 6 corporations. All of the media that we see, 90% of what we see, hear, and read is controlled by literally 6 corporations. And so because of this consolidation of media, we have multinational corporations, we have big government, we have lobby groups, and we even have foreign governments literally controlling and pouring so much money into the American media to propagate and control narratives of certain issues. And even, we're not getting the full story about what's happening in Egypt and Syria and Palestine. The media simply just lies about these kinds of things. And so I really wanted to fill in this gap, this hole, and provide people with an alternative perspective. But I found one thing that the media was never doing, which was through the lens of social justice and human rights, while also exposing how money specifically influences policies at home and abroad. And so that really became the mission of MintPress. And actually, if you see after 9/11, in the United States, we're experiencing a renaissance, if you will, of independent and alternative media kind of rising up to the surface to challenge the mainstream media. And so now MintPress, thankfully, we're about 4 years old, we're really leading the way in providing an alternative perspective.
When we talk about journalism and corporate media, do you think the problem is a structural problem, or this is just, consumerism?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. In the 1980s, that's when the consolidation of the media first started to take place, when the United States really the government started to encourage neoliberal economic policies. And all of a sudden, we saw the media begin to be bought out by these larger corporations. And between 1983, I think it was, and 2001, we saw the biggest consolidation of the media by these big corporations. And so I think it is absolutely consumerism. And, let's face it, I mean, people know more about Kim Kardashian and her marriage and her family than they do about what's happening with the military-industrial complex, about what the war against ISIS.
Or the way they choose between Canada, the way they choose between Pepsi and Coke.
Exactly.
It's just like you package something, they buy it.
Well, and that's the thing, is the media gives us an illusion of choice. But at the end of the day, these 6 corporations, they're giving us the same kind of garbage, the same narratives, the same type of information that really sums up to just not much.
As somebody came from Palestine, and as somebody first hijabi uncle, whatever, it must be hard to be in the media these days.
Absolutely.
And you cover stories like Islamophobia and entrapping young Muslims for this FBI entrapment of terrorism and all of that. So how do you cover all this story? And how do you find your niche?
MintPress is a very small news organization, but we've really made strides in covering these kinds of issues. And with myself as the face of the news organization, you better believe that I've come under attack. I've been a target of several smear campaigns. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had a Fox News pundit harass me on Twitter. His name is Juhdi Jasser. He's the house Muslim, we call him, for Fox News. I'm sure you've heard of him. He was harassing me on Twitter, calling me a foreign agent. And that
sounds like Sisi.
I know, exactly. And so that's really the only way to silence dissent now, is to kind of put these labels on American citizens and say that, oh, you're a foreign agent, or it's always ad hominem attacks that are taking place instead of actually
ready-made.
Exactly. Instead of actually discussing the issues. So we present a lot of great coverage, and we do provide it to the public. But what we found from those opposing our coverage, from the corporate press like BuzzFeed or this Fox News pundit, and from many others, I've faced many others, it's the same thing. They don't actually come to me or MintPress and rebuttal our coverage or talk about the issues we're covering. It's always a direct attack on myself. And the focus, of course, is that I'm a Muslim. Well, yeah, you're right, I am a Muslim, and I'm not hiding it. So
it's a crime these days.
Yeah, it must be a crime these days.
You are online. Your news press is digital.
Absolutely, yeah. We're an online news website.
And then the issue you cover, global, national, and all of that. And I know, and I don't want to put you on the spot. I mean, your parents went through a horrible experience a couple of days ago. And as a journalist and as a daughter of those parents, it must be this is a career turning experience for some journalists. How do you handle who you cover a story like this.
You know,
You are on the face of that story.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I never wanted my parents to get publicity in any sort, and I've always wanted to separate myself from my family because I am in the public eye a lot, and I do get attacked, and I do get a lot of press coverage, and so I always wanted to separate my family from what I do. But when this happened, I couldn't help but, you know, realize that all the work that I'm doing, what had happened to my parents, which I believe to be a hate crime, that they were treated as suspect, is a manifestation of the fear-mongering that the media is so good at doing.
That's the reason you started.
That's the whole reason I started MintPress and became a journalist, is because I wanted to show people that, hey, you know, there's more to the story. And me as a Muslim, of course, I wanted to show that, hey, we're regular people like everybody else.
What a concept.
Yeah, what a concept. And so it was just this manifestation of like, you know, it hit me like epiphany, you know, wow, this is the whole reason I came into journalism, and I just found my family become a victim of this prejudice.
You know, and I know when you say I don't want to stay away from the family, I'm a journalist, I don't want to get involved in this. Is this for journalistic reason or safety reason? Because for me, I don't want people to know where...
it's both, you know, it's for safety and it's for journalistic reasons. I mean, I've had random people show up at my office, and strangers, and you know, there have been many journalists that have been abducted, that have been attacked, and so I just don't want to get my family involved in that. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's simple, but it's sad. The challenge are facing now small news outlet like those resources.
Right.
So how do you handle that to be objective, not in the hand of the advertisers and all of that?
You know, it is very difficult. When I first started MintPress, I had investors, and once they started to kind of want to take control of my editorial, I actually got rid of them, and I said, no, this is the whole reason I started MintPress, is to have editorial freedom, and we really...
Mint doesn't like control.
Right.
To begin with.
So Mint, yeah. So what I did is I actually re-strategized our business strategy, I guess you could say, our business plan. And now most of our stories are sponsored through sponsorships and memberships. So like you can go on our website right now and become a member. And again, we're very small. You know, we're just a couple full-time employees, and the rest are, of course, freelancers and contractors focusing on investigative journalism.
Yeah.
But you can become a member and a sustaining member to help sustain our investigations. You can donate to our website, and that's really how we put things together. But you know, you're absolutely right. I mean, how can we compete with the Huffington Post, who's receiving, you know, millions of dollars in ad revenue for posting like top 10 videos of this and BuzzFeed
But also
top 10 cat
being
videos.
small and being not
Right.
heavily vested, I mean, that also liberating for you.
Of course, yeah.
You know, maneuvering lean and mean, you know, kind of a...
We literally have editorial control of what we publish, and the majority of the stories actually come not from myself, but from our reporters. And we really pride ourselves in giving them that editorial control too.
Which
is rare to find.
Rare. I mean, so did art now, the investigative reporting is almost dead.
Absolutely, and that's why we've actually we have attracted many veteran reporters that worked for the New York Times, for the Associated Press, and because they said, you guys allow us that editorial freedom, we want to work for you.
Well, Mnar, thank you so much for coming to the show, telling our stories. Thank you so much. Mnar Muhawesh is founder and editor-in-chief of MintPress. You can find it on the news and online, and you can subscribe, and you can donate, and you can read and enjoy. We'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum, and God bless you all.